Who said your course had to be online? Today we're going to talk all things live workshops. Hi, I'm Sam Nordberg. Welcome to this week's mini training, and this week we're talking all things live workshops. You see, right now I'm in London and tomorrow morning I'm teaching the first live course creation workshop. Well, right now I'm not in London. Right now I'm in my office at home recording this video for you before I go to London, but you get the deal. By the time you're watching this, I will be there. So what that means is, though, that I want to tell you a little bit about running live workshops, because reality is a live workshop is a course. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just live, not online. Something that I'm going to say here, disclaimer, I'm not talking about when you get hired to stand and speak and it's just you talking for an hour. That, not a workshop. And not really a course. I'm a firm believer that a course requires them to have some participation of some sort. They do something and it should have some feedback mechanism. Whether that's automated, whether they have to send things in and you comment on it, doesn't matter, but it should have some feedback mechanism. So if you've been hired to speak and have a speaking event, that is not a course. What I'm talking about here in live workshops is literally when you take your course and you run it live. You teach people how to do things and they interact. And the thing is, because it's a course and you're still trying to get the same results, it still works the same way. So if you're planning a live workshop and they're pretty good, here's some of the things you could think about. 1. Get really clear on what you want them to achieve. This is no different than writing your online chunks. What do they need to be able to do or know by the time they've finished your workshop? If you don't get really clear in advance on an outcome, it's very easy to get distracted. It's much more easy to get distracted in a live workshop because you have real people talking to you. You can end off on a million tangents, and I always swear that teaching adults is like trying to herd cats. None of them want to go in the same direction, nor do they want to listen to instructions, and somehow you've got to keep them all back together. Herding cats. I love it, don't get me wrong, it's what I do for a living, but herding cats, it really is. So get really clear on the outcome. 2, follow your process. Write some content, teach them in story about what they need to know. Give them something to do so that they actually have to interact. Maybe they're answering questions, maybe they're creating something, maybe they're following what you've said. Give them time for this. So this is part 2. You need to make sure you give them plenty of time to take action in class. Them taking action takes longer than you think it will. They will have questions they need to ask, they'll get distracted, they'll talk to the person next to them. It's like school kids, I swear. So what you need to do is make sure you've allocated time in your workshop to allow them to implement, and be generous with it. Allow a little bit more time than you thought it would take, because it will take it. Step 3, feedback. Because your face-to-face feedback here is vital and really worthwhile. So now that they've implemented, you can give them some feedback. Now this can come in lots of different formats. You could walk around the classroom and talk to them one-on-one, but it gets a bit time-consuming and it's not very personal, because although you're trying to say something personal, everyone else can hear it. What I would suggest is group discussion is great here. Pull the group back together. Get them to talk about what they learnt by implementing. You can add feedback that's relevant to the class. What went well, what didn't go well. All of those things are things that we did in your chunk writing for your written online course. Tell your story, give them something to do, give them feedback. All of those steps are still the same. But with a live workshop, A, allow more time than you think it's going to take, because it takes a long time. And B, you can interact on such a great level to build into your content. These live workshops work for just about anything. So if you have written an online course, have you considered running one locally in your area as a live workshop? Take part of the course, maybe just one chunk, and teach it live. Get them to interact, get them to get involved, get them to do something on the day so they walk away with real outcomes, with tangible results from your class. It's well worth thinking about. So my challenge for you today is to consider, are live workshops relevant for what you're teaching? Is it something that you've considered doing, or have you done? I want you to jump in the comments down below and tell me if you feel that live workshops are a good choice for you or not. And for some of you, they might not be. And if you have run live workshops, I'd love to hear from you, so jump in and tell us. Now that's all for this week, and as always, I will see you next week.